radio money on a mansion, but the floors look like a bad Facebook Marketplace ad. How am I supposed to spend all winter staring at this?
Well, wipe those tears, my dear Wally. At Professional Floor Covering, we have the perfect solution for your mansion mayhem. Like a wide selection of carpet, hardwood, laminate, LVP tile, and more. We'll measure and provide the design suggestions, all at prices you'll love. Need more than flooring? Get brand new cabinets and countertops or a luxurious shower or tub conversion. Professional Floor Covering has everything you need to transform your space before you're shut in for the winter.
Randy, you're a hero.
That's quite the exaggeration, Wally. But when it comes to the selection at Professional Floor Covering, there's no embellishment when we say we'll find you everything. Just visit PROFLR.com or our showroom in Beaver Dam today and see for yourself.
Waking up your neighborhood with what's happening. It's Hometown Today on your hometown station, 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
Good morning and welcome into Hometown Today on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge. Wally Lukashenski with Cale Zomer up in the WBEV studio with you this morning. And Hometown Today is presented by our friends over at Professional Floor Covering. And Randy and his team over at Professional Floor Covering are here to help you design the perfect space. They have over 1,000 samples of carpet, LVP, hardwood, tile, area rugs, and window finishings. But it is so much more than floors. They have a wide selection of kitchen and bathroom countertops, cabinets, tile, shower inserts, and more. When you walk into a kitchen or a bathroom, that countertop's one of the first things you see. So the material, the color, and the pattern of a countertop, they all play a major role in how a kitchen or bath remodel will turn out. And they offer a large selection of quartz, granite, marble, and laminate countertops. And they're here to help you find the perfect one that fits both your lifestyle and your design. Professional Floor Covering is in Abbey Design Center, and you can find them at 713 Park Avenue in Beaver Dam or online at PROFLR.com. And I'm excited this morning. We are joined by Kurt Sampson, the curator of the museum over with the Dodge County Historical Society. And Kurt, we have a lot to talk about today.
Sure do.
I was going to say, we're jam-packed here, but I want to start, first of all, with your title and your background a little bit. So you are the curator over with the museum. What exactly does a curator do?
Well, what a curator does is I run the daily operations of the museum, and I also curate all of the artifacts and care for those artifacts that are in our collections, and also do the research on those artifacts so we understand exactly the significance of those artifacts. We also do all of the text writing for all the exhibits, develop new exhibits for artifacts that we're bringing in. I develop all the educational programming that we do at the museum. And also work with interns and volunteers, which are the people that are really the true background of our organization. And we also have a very dedicated board of directors of people in the community here that oversee the museum and my job, basically. And that's what we do, basically. We preserve and educate about the history of not only Beaver Dam, but Dodge County in general.
Well, it lasted all of 2 minutes before I was able to keep myself from bringing it up, because you told me about one of the really cool things that you do have displayed right now.
Yeah.
And it's the mammoth bones.
Yes, the Persian mammoth.
But please, okay, because you told me I'm going to just spoil everything. Can you tell us how long you figured out that these bones are from, and a little bit about the story about what you might be thinking else happened with these bones?
Well, the Persian mammoth is some mammoth bones, not a complete skeleton, but a partial skeleton of a juvenile mammoth that was found by a gentleman named Steve Persha somewhere between about 30 to 35 years ago. And Steve Persha died about 10 years ago, give or take. And after he passed away, his daughters donated the mammoth bones to the Dodge County Historic Society, and with the hope that we would develop it into an exhibit, which we did. And I did that with a young woman named Crystal Elsey, who was a anthropology student from the University of Wisconsin at the time, and she came on as an intern to help me develop an exhibit for those bones. And those bones were found just north of the town of Hustisford, technically between Herman and Iron Ridge townships in that general area on the northeast side of Lake Mississippi. And the story that I was told was that they were found about 7 to 8 feet below the surface as Mr. Persha was trenching a farm field to alleviate water on the farm field on what was called the Laufenberg farm back in those days. Today it's called the Hookstead farm. And so Mr. Persha saw these bones as he was digging them up with a backhoe and collected what he could find and had them on display. Mr. Persha also had one of the largest prehistoric artifact collections that he had personally collected in Dodge County over his long life, and we also received a portion of that collection into our exhibit for our Native American collections. And for many years, I had thought about doing what's called an accelerator mass spectrometry radiocarbon date, C14 date, as they call it, on those bones. And for whatever reason, just kind of put it off for many years. One of the reasons I did that is because it's a very expensive test to do. It costs about $800 for a single radiocarbon date test. So recently, I had been thinking about it for whatever reason, and I thought, well, it's time to raise that money and to get this test done, because I had always been curious to find out how old those mammoth bones were. So I literally did a GoFundMe account and raised that money in less than 24 hours. And what we had to do was we had to send a rib bone of the mammoth to a company called Beta Analytic, which is in Florida, Wisconsin. They're the company that does this type of radiocarbon dating. And what's interesting about the accelerator mass spectrometry dating is that it's a very accurate type of.
So you can trust these numbers.
You can trust these numbers. These numbers came back on the. This is the actual test score right here. This test, the AMS test, as they call it, is a test that is used on biogenetic remains that are not fossilized. So these mammoth bones, while they're very old, they're not fossilized. And fossilization is mineral replacement in bones that takes millions of years to do that. But we knew that we could probably get a fairly accurate radiocarbon date on these bones based on the preservation that they were in. And so we asked Beta Analytic what they needed from us to get the test done, and we showed them the bones that we had, and they said, well, one of those rib bones would probably give us an accurate test. So I had to package that up, send the rib bone to Florida. It's a little unusual packaging up an extinct elephant rib bone and sending it to Florida, but that's what we had to do. And long story short, this test provided a 95.4% accuracy on the dates of these of the test. And when we got this test back from them about 6 weeks after I had sent the bone in, the calibrated radiocarbon dates came back at 16,372 to 16,063. So what that means is that sometime between those two dates, that 300-year period, is when that mammoth died, and those dates are before present, 16,372 years before present. If you add 2,000 years since Christ, or you back that up to the time of Christ, those bones are 14,500 BC, before Christ. So 16,000 millennia ago, this mammoth was roaming Dodge County and met its demise either by dying, but we believe that this animal was either scavenged by Paleo-Indian hunters or possibly hunted by them. And the reason we believe that is on the tibia, one of the front lower leg bones of the mammoth, we have what we believe are stone tool cut marks on those bones. So our next avenue of inquiry about these bones is to have that bone examined under a high-powered electronic microscope, which can actually take photographs of those cut marks on that bone, and that'll give us an indication of if, in fact, those are stone tool cut marks, or if it's something else, maybe damage from how the animal was laid in the ground.
Sure.
possibly backhoe damage. But these serrations on these bones seem to be typical of what has been diagnosed on other mammoth bones around the country that show definitive signs of human modification.
That is fascinating. So
Yes.
that is the next step right now.
That's the next step.
If that's how it died, that's where we're getting to the point where you guys are so smart with this technology that you're even able to pinpoint within 300 years that this thing is 16,000 years old. And now we might know that this thing was hunted. And that is why we found it here in Dodge County. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, it is. It really is. And it's going to tell us a lot of information about not only the human occupation of Dodge County during the late Pleistocene at the end of the Ice Age. It was oftentimes commonly thought that eastern part of Dodge County might have been under glacial ice at that time, but this shows us that it wasn't at that time.
Wow, so this is finding out even other solutions that you didn't even know that we might be looking for at this point.
And there are two other mammoth that have been found over the last 40 years in southeastern southeastern Wisconsin, I should say. One of them was the Hebrew mammoth, which was the mammoth that was excavated by actually one of my old bosses in archaeology, Dr. David Overstreet. And that both of these mammoth, the Mud Lake and the Hebrew mammoth, were both found in Kenosha County, and they both were modified by humans by hunting and butchering, and those have radiocarbon dates that are almost exactly contemporaneous with the dates of the Persia mammoth in Dodge County, and it's very likely that the Dodge County mammoth was hunted by the same Paleo-Indian peoples that were hunting the mammoth in Kenosha County as well.
Wow. Well, I know that Kale's going to kill me if we don't go to break here soon.
That's fine.
But I could have talked. I want to talk about the mammoth a little more. We'll probably do that during the break because I think I could spend an hour on that in its own right. But we will step aside because we also have to talk about some of the great events that are coming up. And you guys have a jam-packed schedule this next 6 months.
Yeah, very much so.
So we'll dive into that, Kurt, right on the other side of the break here with more Hometown Today on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
This week's Mid-State Equipment WBEV FFA Student of the Week is Keegan Schraufnagel of Mayville. Keegan is a member of the Mayville FFA and has participated in state conventions, county fair shows, and a trip to Ireland. Keegan's SAE project was dairy production. His plans after graduation are to take over the family dairy and cash crop farm. Congratulations to Keegan Schraufnagel of Mayville's FFA. He's this week's Mid-State Equipment FFA Student of the Week.
I'm Wally Lukashenski.
I'm Charlie Dern.
And we are the Damn Sports Show, brought to you by Real Sports Cards in Waupun.
From Lambeau to Madison, Milwaukee to Beaver Dam, we have you covered.
Join us weekdays from 4 until 5 on 1430 ESPN Beaver Dam and Daily Dodge TV.
At Prairie Ridge Health, our physical and occupational therapy team is here to help you move with confidence again. Whether you're recovering from an injury, a fall, or regaining strength after surgery, our rehab therapists are by your side. Early morning and evening appointments are available at our clinics in Beaver Dam, Columbus, and Sun Prairie. Learn more at prairieridge.health.
The pulse of the Milwaukee Bucks, straight from a Bucks legend.
Can't get it off. Marcus Johnson will, though. Can't leave him alone for a 12.
Tap into Here District with Marcus Johnson on Bucks Plus. Marcus and his son Chris offer a weekly beat on Bucks basketball. Get your questions answered and hear from the biggest names in basketball. Find Here District with Marcus Johnson at bucks.com/plus on the Bucks app or wherever you get your podcasts.
It's true, the bigger your farm equipment gets, the faster you can feed the world. But it's also true that bigger equipment means bigger repair bills. In fact, replacing just one high-tech transmission can set you back thousands of dollars. But not if you protect your investment with Cenex Petroleum products from United Cooperative and the Cenex Total Protection Plan for up to 10 years of coverage. Rely on United Cooperative, your certified Cenex distributor for quality fuels, lubricants, and the Total Protection Plan warranty for new and used equipment. Contact us today at 920-887-1756.
Join us this Thursday morning at 11:10 for Let's Talk with Beaver Dam Unified School District Superintendent Mark DiStefano. We'll highlight student and staff achievements, discuss academic progress, and celebrate January's School of the Month, Beaver Dam High School. We'll also cover ongoing improvements to keep schools safe and healthy, along with open enrollment opportunities. It's Let's Talk with Superintendent Mark DiStefano, Thursday at 11:10 a.m. on Daily Dodge TV and 95.3 WBEV.
We're here at Menards Bag Sale, asking shoppers what they're putting in the bag to get 15% off.
Paint,
batteries,
tools,
toilet paper,
extension cords, grocery items,
hardware for my cabinets,
snack items, crackers, and some canned goods stuff.
Shop vac supplies,
toothpaste, cereal, coffee, dog treats. I've got a lot of stuff to grab.
The list goes on, but the sale ends January 24th. Hurry in for Menards 15% off bag sale. See store for complete details.
Save big money at Menards.
Hey, it's Randy from Professional Floor Covering. You're listening to Hometown Today on the 5,000-watt flamethrower on your hometown station, 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
Welcome back to Hometown Today on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge. Hometown Today is presented by Professional Floor Covering, and we have the Dodge County Historical Society in the building today. We have Kurt Sampson, the curator of the museum, and I have been fascinated learning about these mammoth bones and continued during the break because it wasn't just mammoth bones that they found in that trench. What else did they find in there?
Well, they also found, Steve also found the inner core horn bone piece of an extinct species of bison that we determined was bison antiquus, as it's called. And this was a Ice Age bison that was about twice the size of a modern bison. And this horn piece looks like it had been purposefully broken off the skull of the bison. And so finding those mammoth bones and that bison horn in the same trench when it was being dug is a good indication that this was probably a Paleo-Indian processing camp where they were processing these animals for the bones, for the hide, for the and for the meat, of course, to survive. And so that, the upcoming tests with the microscope on those bone materials will be really telling to tell us if those were, in fact, stone tool cut marks on those bones. I'm fairly confident that they are, just based on researching the other mammoth that have been found in the state of Wisconsin that do show clear-cut marks of being modified by humans.
Well, and I imagine, too, finding the bison there as well, it kind of is that indicator that this is almost where they dispose of the bones and stuff once there is no more purpose for them, for these tribes back then.
Yeah, and it's possible that these animals both got stuck, possibly maybe in a sinkhole or something of that nature, where they were stuck and couldn't get out and died in that same spot. But the fact that these bones are broken up the way they are indicates human presence. So.
Well, Kurt, this is fascinating. I could talk about mammoth bones with you for an hour, but you guys have events coming up that we have to dive into now.
We do. We have. Back in October, we kicked off what we like to call our Winter Speakers Series. And we do this every winter. This is the fourth year, I believe, that we've done this over the winter months at the Dodge County Historic Society. And basically what I do is I try to line up at least 2 speakers a month to come in from November, the end of October, going into November, all the way through May. And we've got some really fascinating speakers lined up, 2 a month through May. Next Saturday on January 17th, we have Herman Bender coming in to speak about Native American Manitou stones. And Dodge County actually has several of these Native American Manitou stones. And what that is in a nutshell is it is a natural stone that is on the landscape. Usually it's a large stone that's very prominent next to a stream or a river or perhaps a spring, maybe a Native American burial ground or a mound site in the county. And Native Americans consider Manitou stones to be stones that are, bless you,
Thank you.
that are spiritual in nature and have mana or life force. And over at Nitschke Mounds, we have a famous Manitou stone that sits right in the heart of the mound site that you can actually visit out on Highway 26 and E out there as you're going into Horicon. So Herman's going to come and talk about the various Manitou stones, not only in Wisconsin that are recognized by Native American peoples, but famous ones around the state like Devil's Tower.
Yeah.
The entire feature of Devil's Tower is actually considered a gigantic Manitou stone. There's a famous one in Devil's Lake that we call the Buffalo Stone. That's on the south eastern shore of Devil's Lake that you can visit when you're walking around the paths there. So Herman will be in to talk about that. And then going into February, we have one of our most popular speakers coming back, Dr. Patrick Young, who is a historian and anthropologist at MSOE in Milwaukee. And he's actually an expert on Nazi Germany propaganda and artwork that was made during that time. And he's going to come in and talk about the politics and the ideology and the aesthetics behind the Hitler fascist state in Germany and the propaganda and artwork that they used to propagate that back during World War II. So it's not a glorification of Nazi Germany by any means. It's just an in-depth dive into the artwork that was the propaganda behind the Nazi machine at those times. And then we have a couple of programs that hit a little bit closer to our neck of the woods. We have on Saturday, February 21st, we have Rob Bowe, who is part of the Theresa Historical Society over in Theresa, and he's going to come and talk about Rock River settlement stories and early settlement in Dodge County, unusual stories about the pioneer days in southeastern Wisconsin and in Dodge County. And then in March, we actually have Herman Bender coming back, and he's going to be talking about the ancient trail system that used to crisscross through the Dodge County area. Especially that lecture is going to be titled Traversing the Divide, the Milwaukee River and Horicon Marsh Trail. And a lot of people don't realize this, but there were ancient trail systems that crisscrossed all over Dodge County, and these date all the way back to these Paleo-Indian times that we're talking about with the Persian Mammoth. And a lot of those trails were used by early settlers and early pioneers coming into Dodge County in the 1830s, 1840s as a means to get around through the county. And many of those trails actually became major highways through the county, like Highway 33, 151 between Columbus and Waupun, and going all the way up towards Fond du Lac. And a lot of those trails led to the Horicon Marsh, obviously, and the escarpment, which is on the eastern side of the marsh. And so Herman is going to talk about that. And coincidentally, a lot of those Manitou stones that we talk about in his earlier lecture coming up on the 17th are also along those ancient trail routes that crisscross through the county. And then in April, we have Peter Schrake coming back. He's also spoke at the Dodge County Historical Society on a couple of occasions. And Peter is the curator of Museum for Circus World in Baraboo. And he is an expert and a very well-known historian on the circus culture that once predominated Wisconsin. And his lecture will be titled Bareback Riders and Educated Elephants, Wisconsin's Amazing Circus Heritage. Now, what's interesting about that is a lot of people know this, but a lot of people don't. But Beaver Dam has very deep ties to the Ringling Brothers Circus.
Really?
And, yes, and back in the 1800s, 1880s, 1890s, all the way up really through the 1950s, the circus was a prominent fixture every summer in Beaver Dam. And if you come into the Dodge County Historic Society, you can see exhibits that talk about the circus history of not only the old city circus that used to be conducted right next door to the Dodge County Historical Society where the police department building is now, where the old YMCA building used to be, but also they used to parade 20 to 30 elephants right down Main Street, Beaver Dam, downtown Beaver Dam, taking them out towards the Dodge County Fairgrounds, which used to be where the athletic fields are at Wayland Academy now, right where the Round Field House is across the street from Wayland.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah. So Beaver Dam has a very deep history of circuses coming to town, not only with the train, but with the train coming into town in the 1850s, 1856 with the depot. And they used to parade those animals right down Main Street, going out towards the fairgrounds.
That is surreal. And I know we even have more events
that
we got to get to. We're going to step aside for a quick break, though, and come back. But I'm going to be pestering you about mammoth bones now, and I'm going to be pestering you about the Ringling Brothers Circus right here in Beaver Dam in the break. So you can't escape me here, Kurt. Well, we'll be right back with more Hometown Today on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. Former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton doing the same thing her husband, former President Bill Clinton, did yesterday, refusing to show up to testify before the House Oversight Committee in its investigation of Jeffrey Epstein. Here's ABC's Jay O'Brien.
Bill Clinton was friendly with Epstein in the 90s and early 2000s. No Epstein survivor has ever accused the former president of wrongdoing, and both Clintons have denied knowledge of Epstein's crimes. Writing to the committee, "We have tried to give you the little information we have. We've done so because Mr. Epstein's crimes were horrific."
Well, the committee's saying they will hold the Clintons in contempt. The Washington Post says FBI agents have searched the Virginia home of one of its reporters as part of an investigation into a government contractor accused of sharing government documents. The Post says journalist Hannah Natanson covers the federal workforce for the Washington Post. There's a meeting today at the White House on a U.S. takeover of Greenland. The leaders of the Danish territory say they don't want that. This is ABC News.
Keep your feet kicked up, sit back, and hang with us at 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge from the Slumberland Furniture Studio.
Now this news update on Wisconsin Radio Network. I'm Ted Allen. UW Hospital and Children's Wisconsin have halted gender-affirming care for minors. The decision comes less than a month after new proposed rules that the federal government would deny Medicaid and Medicare payments to hospitals and clinics if they provide gender-affirming care for patients 17 and under. Democratic lawmakers say they're working to get Wisconsin Eye, the state's version of C-SPAN, back up and running. Assembly Minority Leader Greta Neubauer says a lack of transparency erodes public trust in state government. WisI needs to raise $250,000 in order to continue operations, and they're fundraising to do that. And a 10-day opportunity to explore several southeast Wisconsin museums. Milwaukee's Museum Days offers special programming and various discounts at over 24 museums in the region. See the full list of admission deals and participating museums at visitmilwaukee.org. Ted Allen, Wisconsin Radio Network News.
It's all he ever talked about, all he wanted to do. When he wasn't out somewhere gambling, he was doing it here at home, on his phone, his computer, until that call to the Problem Gambling Helpline.
He kept calling in, just didn't seem like himself. Now, he's one of the best workers I've got.
He was missing my games, my school stuff. Not anymore. I've got my dad back.
It's like he disappeared. He's my best friend, but he never had time for me anymore until he called the free Problem Gambling Helpline.
They call it the invisible addiction, but everyone can see it. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, help and hope are just a call, text, or click away. Call the Problem Gambling Helpline at 1-800-GAMBLE-5, text 850-888-HOPE, or visit wi-problemgamblers.org. Gamble responsibly, and everyone's a winner. A message brought to you by the Wisconsin Lottery.
In sports, the Beaver Dam girls basketball team kept their Badger Large Conference hopes alive with a 72-70 win over Monona Grove last night at the Field House. Emma Jalka led the way with 21. You can see all of last night's scores on the sports tab at DailyDodge.com. John Blackwell's 3 at the buzzer gave the Badger men's basketball team 78-75 win at Minnesota last night. Wisconsin takes on Rutgers Saturday. Marquette was blown out by St. John's 92-68. Bucks got pounded by the Timberwolves 130 139-106. Still no word on a contract extension for Packers coach Matt LaFleur, but Mike Tomlin steps down after 19 seasons with the Pittsburgh Steelers. 7:05 tonight, the Badger Hockey Hour on ESPN Beaver Dam. That's your Daily Dodge Sports Center. I'm Wade Bates on 95.3 WBEV.
Cats, dogs, and rabbits. Oh my! Check out the Pet of the Week page on DailyDodge.com, presented by Marshview Veterinary Clinic.
A winter weather advisory continues until 10 a.m. today. Daytime highs approaching 21 today under mainly cloudy skies, north winds 15 to 20 miles per hour. Lows level off around 8 above. Tonight, partly cloudy skies. About an inch of snow tomorrow night through Friday. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge. Right now, 18.
Since 1998, the Good Karma Brand's John Moser Children's Radiothon has distributed nearly $3 million to nonprofit organizations serving children in Dodge County and the surrounding areas. You can help make a difference by getting involved today. Help support the cause by donating an item to our 27-hour on-air live auction, hosting a fundraiser event, or making a monetary donation through Venmo. To learn more, visit dailydodge.com/radiothon.
This is Matt Heyer from Heyer Insurance and Estate Planning. Are you nervous about retirement? Has your income plan been battle tested? No worries. Call us at Heyer Insurance, where our team gets to know each client's individual story, and we educate how to solve problems while creating opportunities in the way that best impacts your retirement journey. We work closely with clients to develop comprehensive plans and manage them to optimize results. For a complimentary consult, call us 920-887-0580. And remember, when you want to retire, call Heyer.
Hi, this is Randy, owner of Professional Floor Covering, and you're listening to Hometown Today on your hometown station, 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
And welcome back to Hometown Today on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge. Hometown Today is presented by Professional Floor Covering. And Kurt, you were just about to tell me something right before we went live that we have to make sure that we hit on today. Before we get back to the events, I would love to throw you the floor.
At the end of our events in May, we have a couple of very interesting things that are coming up. One is sometime in the second or third week in May. We haven't just determined the date yet, but you can find that information on our Facebook page and on our Dodge County Historic Society website. But we are going to be conducting an archaeological excavation in Swan City Park.
You are?
Yes, and I'm going to be doing some shovel testing out there in early May, and this is going to be on the western side of the park, approximately where the old Swan City Vita Resort hotel used to be, where the playground essentially is in the park today, and also where the old bathhouse used to be in the park. And we're going to see if we can find some historical foundations of some of those buildings. And Swan City Park also has a very long Native American occupation, of course, so there is a possibility that there might be some intact prehistoric features in that park. And then once we get into early June, in the 12th through the 14th, we have the Beaver Dam Peonies Festival. And during that Friday and Saturday, we will have our Ghost Story Festival again, and this will be the fourth year, I believe, that we're doing the Ghost Story Festival that we do right at the Dodge County Historical Society in the back of the building between the Chamber of Commerce and the back of our building that we use as a drop back for the stage. And then the following day, on Saturday, we have our annual lawn party that day, and we'll be open and be providing root beer floats and historic downtown walking tours and have all the usual things that we normally have for our annual lawn party. But I want to quickly mention a couple other programs that we have.
Absolutely.
Another program coming up on March 14th. We're going to have Edward Langer of the town of Kleiman in Dodge County coming to the Dodge County Historical Society. And Edward Langer recently wrote a book that he titled Grounded in the Past and Looking to the Future, the History of the Town and Village of Kleiman. And he is going to come and discuss his book and the early history of the town of Kleiman. And then one more program to wrap up our winter speakers series. We will welcome Adam Novi. Adam is the executive director of the Historic Indian Agency House in Portage, Wisconsin. And he is going to come and talk about the Ho-Chunk Indian Agency House at Fort Winnebago and talk about the old 1830s ties to the government and the Ho-Chunk Nation and the Fort Winnebago and the Indian Agency House that was there. So that will be on April 25th. And all of these programs you can find on the Dodge County Historic Society website, on our Facebook page. I post on several other Facebook pages and other social media outlets about these events coming up at the Dodge County Historic Society. And all of these programs are on Saturday beginning at 1 o'clock, and they usually last about an hour for the lecture with time for questions and answers at the end.
Okay, so make sure that you're following along to the Facebook and website. If you see one of these events, make sure that you're there for this. This has been already a fascinating 45 minutes with you, and I was going to say the time has flown by, but I wanted to make sure we do highlight you have a new book out. You've written two now, and this one is another one that, can you walk me through it? It's about ideology, I believe you told me?
Well, it's about the Indian mounds again. So our first book that was published about 2 years ago, that came out 2 years ago, was the book that I co-authored with Bill Volkert, and that was titled Indian Mounds of Dodge County and the Horicon Marsh. And that book highlights about over 60 known Native American effigy mound sites in Dodge County. And effigy mounds are Native American burial grounds that were constructed between about 500 AD to about 1100 AD right here in Dodge County. And the most prominent one that people can actually visit is Nitschke Mounds County Park out on Prospect Road on E. Prospect Road is E, and it's near the corner of Highway 26 and E, near Burnett Township, between Burnett and Horicon. And you can actually visit that mound site year-round in the county park. And sometime in the next couple of months, we're actually going to be putting out some new interpretive signage in that park that I wrote a grant for that was generously awarded to us through the Wisconsin Archaeological Society. But the next book that I just co-authored is a book called Patterns Found in Effigy Mound Groups as Symbol Systems. And this was co-authored by Dr. Gary Meyer. Dr. Gary Meyer is retired now, but he was a medical doctor and PhD psychologist who was the head doctor at the Mendota Mental Health Hospital in Madison, which is on the north shore of Lake Mendota. And on that property is a very large, prominent effigy mound site that has the world's largest effigy mound in the form of a giant eagle. And Gary wrote a very interesting book about the interpretation of that mound site about 20 years ago called The Eagle's Voice. Now, I've known Gary for about 25 years, and I met him through an organization that was called the Ancient Earthwork Society, which is a group of individuals that was dedicated to not only preserving mound sites in Wisconsin, but also dedicated to educating the general public about mounds. And I also run an organization that is called the Effigy Mounds Initiative. And what we do is we go around the state and we work with private and public landowners that have mound sites on their property, and we help them to get them registered with the State Historical Society so they fall under the full protection of the Wisconsin's Burial Sites Protection Act, which was enacted back in 1986. And then I also have a dedicated crew of about 15 to 20 people that go out and we work with the landowners to clean these mound sites up. Many of these mound sites are overgrown over the years with trees, buckthorn, and other invasive woody species. So we'll go out there, clean that off the site, make sure those mounds are in good shape. In some cases, reseed the mounds with ancient prairie grasses or prairie grasses that help with the erosional issues that might be, with the mounds themselves. These mounds are mounds of earth that are in the shapes of various types of animals. and they contain human remains or burials. And these mound shapes coincide with clan symbolism of ancient Native American peoples that lived on this landscape a couple thousand years ago. And what Gary and I do with our new book, Patterns Found in Effigy Mound Groups as Symbol Systems, is we look at those mounds and their placement on the landscape. And we look at, we propose possible interpretations of what those alignments to those mounds mean. We know that many of these mounds have certain celestial alignments to them where they're marking the summer and winter solstices, in some cases equinoxes or cross quarter days that are on the landscape and pointing in those directions. And so what Gary and I look at is we look at how these mound sites are trending on the landscape and what that might mean. And when you're looking at the mound shapes themselves, they have metaphorical meaning. So for instance, if you're looking at animals like a bear or a goose, for instance, which are documented mound shapes in Wisconsin and in Dodge County, one example I can give you is that almost all of the goose-shaped mounds in Dodge County are facing in a due south or just off of due south alignment with their head trending in that direction.
Like they're flying south for the winter.
Like they're flying south for the winter. So we've come to determine that a lot of these metaphors that are tied in with earth renewal, earth regeneration, are also tied into the Native American belief system of earth regeneration, earth renewal, being born again into the spirit world, so to speak. So if you're buried in a goose mound or a bear mound, many bear mounds in Wisconsin seem to be walking along the path of a winter solstice alignment in the time of death. But what does a bear do? A bear will go into hibernation and come out of hibernation with new life in the spring, especially if it's a female. So these mounds are metaphorical expressions, if you will, of earth regeneration, earth renewal, and for these Native Americans being born again, but not born again in the physical sense in this realm, being born again into the spirit world, so to speak, and using those animals as metaphors for that transformation.
Well, Kurt, first of all, I want to thank you so much for coming on today and sharing some of your wisdom with us, because this is fascinating. There's so much here in Dodge County that I don't think people properly understand or take the time to learn about.
Absolutely.
So how, before we do wrap up, how can people purchase this book or find this book if they wanted to read it?
So I have books. You can find it on Amazon Books. Just Google Effigy Mounds and you'll find it, or my name and you'll find it. And the book sells for $35 a piece. We also have them at the Dodge County Historical Society, and you can come into the Historical Society when we're open Wednesday through Saturday from 1 to 4, or by special arrangement with me if you call ahead to the museum. I'm usually at the museum Wednesday through Saturday from about 10 to 4. We do have a doorbell on our front door at the museum, so if you come to the museum before hours beginning at 1 o'clock, just ring that doorbell, and I'm usually there, and I can sell you a copy at the museum. And that's how you can get them. And you can get both of our books there, actually.
Well, Kurt, I know that I'm going to be fired up to get over there. I'm going to be ringing the doorbell because I'm going to be asking you to walk me around and show me everything that is over there.
Anytime.
Oh, well, be careful what you wish for. But thank you so much for joining us today. This has been a blast.
Thank you for having us.
Of course. And we're going to take a quick final break. When we come back, Kayla and I are going to wrap up the show. That's next here on Hometown Today on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
The College Football Playoff National Championship. The magical run by the 10th-ranked Miami Hurricanes continues.
There's no bad play, no bad call, no injury that we can't overcome.
When they faced a top-ranked and undefeated Indiana Hoosiers.
All I can say is go IU and Hoosiers!
Coverage begins at 5:30 Monday night with the kickoff set for 6:30 on 1430 ESPN Beaver Dam.
On top of the world or bouncing back, there's no better time than right now to take care of yourself. Marshfield Clinic Primary Care helps you stay on track with recommended screenings and annual visits, or simply connect on your overall well-being. And if you find yourself in need of care quickly, we often offer same-day appointment options. Marshfield Clinic. Enjoy life with confidence. Explore appointment options today at marshfieldclinic.org/primary care.
The retirement and going out of business sale at McKinstry's Home Furnishings in downtown Beaver Dam is rolling on. Savings are getting bigger. Right now, you'll save 70% off list prices store-wide. Every piece is priced to move, and when it's gone, McKinstry's will close its doors. Shop Thursday, Friday, and Saturday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Find serious savings during the McKinstry's Home Furnishings retirement and going out of business sale.
I'm very familiar with Gruber Law offices because they're always out in the community.
Gruber Law offices are known to be honest, hardworking.
They're always involved in our neighborhoods.
Gruber Law offices make our community a better place.
They are the best. For nearly 40 years, Gruber Law offices has helped people throughout Wisconsin. If you're injured, we're here to help. One call, that's all.
Wisconsin would not be the same without Gruber Law offices.
If you're single, a young couple just starting out, or an empty nester, regular-sized loaves of bread just may be too much of a good thing. Now, thanks to Village Hearth Half Loaves, you can have just the right amount of fresh, delicious bread for toast and your favorite sandwiches. Village Hearth Half Loaves come in 5 flavorful varieties, including Dakota-style 12-grain, honey wheat, and premium white. You're sure to find the one that's just right. Village Hearth Half Loaves, the perfect size for 1 or 2.
We've got a trio of high school sporting events coming up later this week on Daily Dodge TV. On Thursday night, the Beaver Dam boys play host to Baraboo at the BDHS Fieldhouse. Friday night, the Beaver Dam girls play host to DeForest. And on Saturday, Wisconsin Rapids comes to the Family Center to take on Beaver Dam boys hockey. Coverage of hockey begins at 2:45. Both the basketball games begin at 7. Your home for Beaver Dam High School athletics is Daily Dodge TV.
Hey, it's Randy from Professional Floor Covering, bringing together friends and neighbors on Hometown Today on your hometown station, 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
And welcome back to Hometown Today on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge. Hometown Today is presented by Professional Floor Covering. Huge shout out to Kurt coming in here. Kurt Sampson, the curator of the museum over with the Dodge County Historical Society. I had a blast this hour. I already told him that he's got me booked I'm getting a tour. I'm showing up. I'm ringing the doorbell. I'm getting a tour kill.
I love it. I was telling you, a couple years ago, there was this trend going around social media, especially on TikTok, of wives asking their husband, how often do you think about the Roman Empire? Don't ask me how often I'm thinking about the Roman Empire. Ask me how often I'm thinking about the mammoth that was in Beaver Dam.
No kidding. And the way the world is going right now with their cloning animals and stuff, there'll probably be mammoths walking around in Beaver Dam.
Who knows? It could happen. Yeah, it's always fun to sit down with Kurt Sampson. He's just, the wealth of knowledge that guy has is insane.
We could have had a 4-hour show today, and I think we still would have had more I wanted to ask him about. So you ain't kidding. That was a blast. So shout out Kurt. Make sure everybody goes over there. But during the show, Kale, I looked up, and I was like, oh, no, did we double book? We have extra people here. We had a surprise pop-in that you got to be a witness to.
Yeah, here I was one of the breaks. I went to go warm up the coffee and walked past Charlie giving a tour to a couple of folks and turn around. Kale, it's Liz and Stephanie from the Midwest Farm Report. They stopped by for a visit this morning. That was a nice little surprise.
It was a great surprise. Yeah. Anytime we get to see our friends over at the Midwest Farm Report, it's a good day.
Yeah, they of course come from Madison area, and they were on their way up to, I think they said up to Green Bay for an ag conference, and said, hey, we got to come right through Beaver Dam. If we're coming through Beaver Dam, we got to stop in and visit our good friends at WBEV. So they popped in and said hi, took a little tour. It was great to see them. We don't get to see them all that often. So that was a nice little surprise this morning.
It was. I think I surprised them a little bit too when I was like, yeah, we're talking mammoth bones, and they're like, oh, All right, sounds good.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. That was a really nice surprise this morning. Otherwise, Wally, I know we've only got a second or two left. I know you're getting ready, gearing up for some warmer weather in a few weeks, heading down to Mexico. And if people missed out on that trip, we're traveling again in 2026. I'm trying to go back 10 years.
2016, 10 years ago is disgusting in its own right.
Absolutely disgusting.
But yeah, you're not kidding. If you missed out on the Mexico trip, Charlie and I are going to be going in on it here in about 2.5 weeks. You have an opportunity to go with Sherry Sackett over to Ireland for the Irish Splendor trip that's coming up in October this next year. Make sure you're going to DailyDodge.com. We have a tab there. You click on that, learn all the information. Don't allow yourself to miss this one, too. Especially, you're going to go over there to the nice Guinness, split the G. It's going to be a good time.
Yum.
Oh, yum is right. But that's going to do it for us here on Hometown Today. We'll be back same time, same place tomorrow with another edition here on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
When winter hits the hardest, St. Vincent de Paul of Dodge County is there